Welcome to This Girl Trade Spy. So let's hop right into it. Um, I wanted to go ahead and upload this because I know that I have some of my audience that are looking to trade. Kind of giving you a little bit of a background on myself. I'm gonna be that chick that trades predominantly SPY, coming back into the game. And so Friday was my 10th day of trading, and I also did a live session with one of my mentors. And one of the things I've learned in different licenses that I've received and stuff like that is it's important for you to copy the right cat. So, did we talk about strategy and did we get into a trade? Yes, but as she was showing me her screen, I noticed that the layout of her trading view account made it really facilitated her ability to get in and out of the trades. And it's important that you have a system. I was listening to Bob Proctor the other day, and he was talking about how your mind operates at its best when there is order. So it's important to order and have a system for your thoughts and for your trading and anything you do in life. So, with that being said, I find this to be the best setup for spy. For spy, you can see my holy grail. So let's just jump right into it. Um, I think that the best bang for your buck is going to be the one where you pay for two, where you can have two panels, and I'll kind of talk about the significance of that. Now, if you go up to, I think one of them is at four, so to have four charts. But I'm going to explain to you why I think this is an okay setup. Otherwise, you're looking at close to $600, I believe. This one I paid I want to say close to $150, I think 113, which is not bad for the year. Okay. So that if the basic trading view will only give you one panel, and I really do feel like two panels is the best because let's jump into it. So this is where you will go ahead and enter in what you're trying to look for. Um, you're going to be trading SPY, so make sure that you put stock and then SPY, but we can go, for example, to QQQ here. And you can see just the amount of time that it takes to go through and look for what it is that you want before it's able to get onto the screen, right? Did I select? Yeah. Um, and so you can see that just the consumption of time that is put into that, and this is going to matter, especially when you're getting ready to do an entry, as opposed to, and we're going to talk about the watch list over here, as opposed to me just clicking on SPY and look, boom, here it is on the left hand side. So if I wanted to go back to QQQ again, boom, there it is, as opposed to having to put the search engine in. Okay, so there's that part. I'm also going to talk about my favorite indicators in a little bit, but your watch list is going to be right here on the right hand side, and this is going to be important if you're trading SPY because you're going to want to keep track of what your top five stock are, and you're going to look at it by weight. Now, what is interesting is, let me see if I can hop over to slick charts. Okay, because some of you are going to wonder, well, how did she find her top five? Let me see if I can record. Yeah, let's see. So share this tab instead. Okay, so now we are on slickcharts.com / S&P 500. I still keep this tab. I have my windows open and I have my favorite tabs at the top. So I have TradingView, two Robinhood windows open, one for the options chain, and one that shows the actual movement of SPY for the day so that I can have another visual imagery of where the stock is moving. I also keep slickcharts.com / S&P 500 open. Now, this is important because I was just kind of patching things together, but this is about being able to take the information and get it onto your trading view. So you're going to want to check this, at least at a minimum once a week because it can change. From since I've started trading, Tesla moved up from number 6 to number 5, and those things are important. So in my journal, I do keep track of which are the top 5 on the S&P 500, but also you're going to want to keep that on your trading view. So what you're going to notice here is that Apple is up, Microsoft is up, Amazon is down, Nvidia is up, and Tesla is up. And this can change throughout the day. And I think that when I go back to the watch list, you're going to see how this is important to keep track of this. And part of my frustration was that I knew that this was changing throughout the day. And so I'd have to go over and refresh it and then go back to TradingView. And so I'm going to show you why that watch list is so important. The other thing you want to pay attention to is also the weight of the stock. So let's say, for example, three of the stock, let's pick these three are, let's pick the bottom three. We're all in an uptrend. That might give you an indication that it's possible we can be on an uptrend. But if you have, like, for example, this happened on Friday, Apple was on the downside. It was on a downtrend. And so even though Microsoft was pumping, Amazon was pumping, Nvidia was pumping, Tesla was going up, Apple has a weight of 7. And so if I'm not mistaken, I think Microsoft had a weight of 5, and then 4, 3, and 2. So it was really taking a toll on SPY. And this is important because SPY is composed of 500 top companies, right? So let me drink my water. I apologize. I've been recording for the most part of this morning. So you're going to want to copy this onto your watch list. Okay, the top 5 on your watch list onto TradingView. So let's head on back over to TradingView. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me see. Share this tab instead. All right, so there we go. So we should be back on TradingView. So what I did is I went ahead and put. Is it gonna respond? I put it in order here. So we have Apple, okay, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Nvidia, and Tesla. And then I do have SPY here, which is an ETF. And actually, I'm comfortable with moving it further down because I don't really. And so you're going to see how you're able to move them around in order. So let's go ahead and move this down here. I'm okay moving it down to the bottom. And this is going to be important too. You want to make sure your internet speed is on the decent side. Right now, it's kind of acting up, and these things matter because like I said, if I'm trying to go in between Apple and SPY and all this stuff, and these things are slowing me down, the watch list does help because I can move in and out. So I have my top 5. I am toying with the idea of trading QQQ, but one of the fundamental things that I think is so important is that I had to remind myself that Friday was my 10th day of trading, and I was wanting to keep up with the giants and people who have been trading for a while, but I think that it's important for me to understand how SPY moves first and then move on to something else, when it's due time. So I'm going to give myself at least another 20 to 30 days to just work with SPY. Um, and then maybe we'll take on QQQ and or SPX. Okay. So, but all of these kind of do run similar to each other because QQQ is all of the tech stuff, right? Um, I wish that you could use slick charts to look at the weight of the top, stock that comprise QQQ, but I haven't been able to find it. And so that's probably part of the reason why I decided to just go with SPY because it just felt comfortable for me to kind of know that I could gauge the movement of the top 5 companies. I also added ES, which is a futures, and SPX, which is also futures. And rumor has it, right? So I'm still fairly new to this, but these are some of the gurus on YouTube talk about this. SPY kind of lets you, it is kind of like ahead of the game, right? So we're in elementary school. We're that first grader. We're all fresh eyed and bushy tailed. And so SPX is that really cool high school kid that like we look up to, or if we're in high school, that college student that we look up to. And so they're ahead of the game, and it is a little bit of a faster moving stock compared to SPY. SPY moves relatively slow, but again, another thing that I found was so interesting. Earlier last week, I talked about how because I was tracking on a daily basis to see what the top five companies were, Tesla was number six and Google was number five, I believe. Yeah, Google was number five. And I noticed that when Tesla bumped up to number five, Tesla is a faster moving stock, and absolutely it affected the I want to say volatility or the momentum or how quickly SPY was moving up and down. Another one that I noticed was with Nvidia. This is before I had my watch list set up, and so mid last week, I want to say it was Wednesday or Thursday, Nvidia was pumping, but I saw that SPY was moving so quickly, and I was trying to kind of figure out why. And I knew Tesla was up, but what was going on? And so when you look at SPY and you looked at Nvidia, you saw that it was really keeping up with Nvidia in terms of its movement. So the way that these move will kind of let you know how SPY is going to move. And SPX is one of those too. On Friday, it was really cool because I looked at SPX. And so sometimes what I would like to do is I will put SPX on this second panel right here on the right hand side. There we go. And so I like to have SPX on the right hand side. Sometimes I'll just take a peek at it and see where is SPY going. So for example, this was really cool too. This is movement from, so this is Thursday. You can see on the bottom right when I'm moving my mouse where it tells me where we are. So that's Thursday. Yeah, so for Friday, this is another cool thing too. Well, right here on the right hand side, left hand side, you're gonna see the crosshairs. And so this one, I had the hardest time trying to figure out how people were moving their chart around and how to grab it. So if you're having a hard time trying to move it, just make sure that you're on the crosshairs here, right? I'm telling you, this is kind of like you need to understand what's happening behind the scenes because I was having the hardest time like trying to move stuff over. And so this can kind of let you consolidate the stuff too. Um, and this can also let you kind of space out what it is that you want to see. So this was really cool because this is right here on Friday. You'll notice that SPX had this gap that had to be filled. And we were trying to figure out why SPY was hitting its all-time 52 its second all-time 52-week high, but why it was going down. And so two things were going on. Not only did SBX have this gap that it was trying to fill, which you can see here that it did end up going ahead and filling it. Okay. And that's not always the case. Sometimes, like you can see later on down here, that still needs to be filled if I'm looking at it correctly. But yeah, so we went from starting off at this high, we kind of gapped up a little bit, and then it came right back down and filled this gap. So, but if I had looked at SPY earlier, because my mentor and I got into a SPY trade, and I was able to take my 20% profit on one, and I was going to let the other one run. So after I was in the trade and I was trying to figure out why is it going to the downside, I had set up my watch list, and so here I was able to see that SPX was on a downtrend, and then that let me start looking at what's going on with Apple. So Apple started to take a nosedive, and so I was able to look at that really quickly as well, right? So this is important. This is going to be important. Um, let's see how am I doing on time. And for some reason, my laptop is a little bit on the slower side, but that's okay. Thankfully, so far when I've been trading, it is relatively slow. I will need to replace it at some point in time, but so and then I have VTI, which is one of the stock that I report to my trading group for. So here's the other cool thing too. So this column right here tells you the change, and it's one thing to see it, but I wasn't sure what do you mean? What kind of change? So this is in terms of dollars. So this had a change of 15 cents. This had a change of $2. This went in the reverse direction. On Friday, a lot of people took profit. Nvidia had hit, if I'm not mistaken, a 52-week high. Um, and yeah, at some point when I have time, I'll come back and put these two together. But yeah, so I like to just look at ES, which is the futures, and SPX. You can trade SPX on Webull, but you cannot trade SPX on Robinhood at this point in time that I'm recording this. Now, here's another thing that I thought was so cool. So you're going to notice I'm clicking on Microsoft, Amazon. So let's go back to Amazon, right? And you can set it. I added volume on here, although at this point it's a little bit of noise to me. But I also have the volumes indicator down here. But when I click on Apple, y'all, my laptop is like, it's Sunday. What are we doing? Okay. So I've selected Apple here. And when you scroll down to the bottom, you're going to notice that it's going to give you this window of information. You're going to see this 18 here. And I was like, 18? Is it like 18 on the SPY? Well, I thought it was number one. When you hover over it, it's going to tell you when the next earning date is. And that's going to be important because you're looking at fluctuation and it can influence if people want to buy or sell or if there's fear in the market or if they're happy with the news. So this will be important. Another important date you'll want to pay attention to is if you have witching Friday, which is the third Friday of every month. Okay, and so then that's where you have a lot of volatility as well. So we're 18 days out from Apple having its earnings. We can look at, for example, Microsoft, same thing. We're just waiting for that to kind of hit a little bit. And like I said, it's one of those weird things. Let me put it on top of this so it has a little bit more airflow. So this one you can see for Microsoft, it has 9 days till the next earning report. So let's just say on Microsoft for the sake of time, right? Over here, you can look at different metrics, right? You can decide if you want to look at the financials, technicals, or forecasts. But the good thing is, you can just scroll down and it will be there anyways. And so I decided to put the ask and the bid on there. And, latest news is also going to be important. We're going to go into all of these different things, but you can also deselect it. I like to have it on there. So when you look at this over here, not only is it telling you the dollar change, and if it's up in the green, and it's going to be cool too because you're going to be training your eye. Like, for example, like right here, you can look and tell real quick Nvidia is to the downside. Remember, we looked at slick charts and we saw that, Nvidia could be down and the rest of them are up. Okay. So real quick, if you start to see, like, for example, on Friday, Tesla was going down because they were taking their profit heading into the weekend. Nvidia was going down and Apple was going down. And so when these three are turning red, you already know SPY is going to be turning red. You can take a sneak peek at SPX and see what it's doing because whatever SPX is doing, SPY is going to do as well. But you also can see that here. And so this one is kind of giving you the day's range, which could be kind of like, I guess you can say your open and your open high and your low. I want to tell you so much, but I think I'm going to try to just work on this fundamental stuff because I like to trade with the first 15-minute candle. And I do plot, what it opens at and what it closes at. And then I use that for the range. But my mentor also told me about a swing high low indicator that I think I think what I'll do is I'll do a separate podcast with my indicators just to save time and keep this short. This one is important too, especially this past week in July, the 52-week range, because Microsoft is in the range of its 52-week high. And so that was very exciting to be a part of that and to watch that happen. SPY also hit two 52-week highs back to back on Wednesday and Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe possibly on Friday, and then Friday things started to go to the downside because of the influence of Apple, Nvidia, and Tesla. Okay, here is some important news. Sometimes it's more important than others, but this one is talking about Microsoft impact to keep Call of Duty on Sony's PlayStation. So that would be considered good news for buyers, and so it kind of just gives you an idea of sentiment. I'm trying to remember what it was that I saw for one of the other stock and stuff like that. And so it kind of lets you know, like, oh, wow, that's really good news. That's favorable news. We're anticipating that it's going to, stay on the uptrend and stuff like that. This one is just people's ideas. If you click on it, you'll see their stuff. This one is different minds. This one I found to be helpful. Um, for example, one of my trading group people were wondering what's happening with Bitcoin. So I just typed in Bitcoin. It came up on my watch list, and I went to what's on their mind. And so one of the people, this is kind of like the chat for the for each of the stock or the ETFs, right? So this one, like for example, with Microsoft, they're saying holy double top, right? So if you have a double top, once you learn your patterns, you understand that it's gonna go straight down to the bottom, right? Let's see what happened here. And when did he said this? On June 28th. So there's not a lot of people chatting on Microsoft right now. This one is from yesterday. And so it kind of gives you a little bit of language. I wouldn't take it as, you know, end all be all, but I would say that maybe sometimes there is language in there that will help you. For example, like I was talking about with Bitcoin, I looked it up and they posted a picture of where they saw a cup and handle, and so that was helpful for the person that was in my group. I sent her a screenshot and said, hey, this is what I see in the chat and the discussion surrounding Bitcoin. But here, for example, it says it just made a double top. In my opinion, there's no reason for a down move. Now that's interesting because usually when there's a double top, that's like a M shape, which means that it would go to the downside. But he's, in his opinion, he thinks it's just called just to hold the area till the next move. Cup and handle will be next, moving into earnings. So that's just, those are his thoughts. I believe you can follow certain people if, yeah. So, and I hadn't seen that before, but yeah. So you can follow or message him in or chair if you agree with the whatever he said. You can upvote it, downvote it, and or comment, right? So that can be kind of helpful if you're kind of relatively new and just want to learn the language. But again, like I wouldn't. Oh, and you know what? So he said that was yesterday. So this is on Friday, and it depends on the time frame. So you can see the time frames up here too. I like to stay in the 15-minute time frame. Some people like to go to the 2-minute to get a better idea of where to enter the trade. Okay. I can go ahead and take off some of these things so that it's not so confusing to you. Let's take this one off too. And so the cool thing is you're probably seeing me I'm taking off the visibility. So if you want to have more of a naked chart or you just want to look at gaps, you can put it back on. You can plot your lines on here and then just, hide the visibility on that again too. I'm also going to probably do a podcast, a podcast, a YouTube video on the gaps and stuff like that. Although this is kind of giving me, if I'm honest, why have to worry about it? But I have learned how to trade gaps, and so this is big time cheat sheet type of information and stuff like that. So let's continue to move on. This just gives you some information, which I know at this point can kind of sound like noise, but at some point, volume is going to be important to you, and when the dividends are, and how happy people are. This one was interesting too because we talked about how Microsoft is 9 days out at the time of recording this from its earnings report, and we can see that for each of the quarters, it kind of fell short. Fourth quarter, and then it kind of was on target for first quarter, second quarter, and then third quarter was way above expectations. And so you better believe that for the most part, the stock should have had a surge after earnings, right? Sometimes some things can change and sometimes people can take profit, but Yeah, so what they're telling you is that they're anticipating their earnings to be $2.55 or something like that, 2.55 on July 25, and so this will give you an indication of if they were able to, so it tells you the difference between actual and estimate. So the gray circle is what they're estimating it to go to, what they're projecting it to go to. And so this is important too, because if you have this type of news right here where it tells you, Microsoft impact to keep Call of Duty on Sony PlayStation, and we're heading into July 23rd in the next week or two, yeah, they're more likely to hit that target, right? This is a little bit more about dividends. It's not my area of strength right now. So, and this one also income statement. It's a little bit of noise to me right now. I mean, it's short of it saying like this is revenue, this is net income, this is profit margin. Right now, it's just noise to me. But when I learn more, and if you are a fundamental trader, I know there are some people that have like some people trade for technical analysis and some people trade for fundamental. I think you need a little bit of like, veggies and meat and salad on your, and a little dessert. So at some point you're going to become more of a, understand the fundamentals a little bit more and more of a technical analysis type of chick. So this one is important. Like, what are you looking at here, right? So it's telling you about the performance. So this means 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, year to date, and year. So it's telling you like these are pretty good, smoking hot, and then these are kind of like lukewarm. They're not so good. When I look at the other stock like Apple, Amazon, Nvidia, Tesla, I remember like for the week it was bright green, and so it kind of lets you know even with the visual imagery that hey, it's doing super good. Right now it's kind of like what percent? It's okay. It's probably not as high as it could be or how high it's been in the past. So that's kind of like the color shading, what this quick visual imagery that your eyes take on. But for the most part, this is also good news too, because at least we're in the positive, right? At least we're in the positive. It could be worse, right? This one I thought was so cool. So here are some technicals. I'm going to show you this too. So you can change this. Like right now, I have it on the 15-minute. No, I have it on the 2-minute time frame. So this is going to fluctuate throughout the day. And then this one is the analyst rating. It doesn't change. You cannot change this one, but they're going to tell you like maybe strong buy means that it's a good time to enter. But when you come here and you can click on this, you will notice if you go to 15 minutes, let's try a different time frame. um, let's go ahead and just click on that. And so here you will notice that if we change it to 1 minute, and maybe part of it right now, the reason it's there we go, it wasn't moving is because the market is closed. But you will see that it went from strong buy to one to just buy. Or if we go to maybe like 1 month, it's still in the strong buy area. Let's just play with the rest of these. And you're gonna notice this was super cool too. I don't really understand too much all of what I'm seeing right now. Um, but you have moving averages, oscillators. And so here you have things like exponential, simple moving averages, and they're telling you most people are indicating buy. Most of these indicators, too, are saying for stochastic to sell. Some of them are neutral. And so at some point, this is going to mean something to us. I have no freaking idea what pivots mean. I've heard people talk about Fibonacci. This might as well just be French to me. And as duly noted at the bottom here, it says be warned, this info is not a recommendation for what you should do personally. So please don't take the data as investment advice. These are all things that will add to what we call confluence, right? As with any trade, always look first and leap. And what a great reminder, you're looking for all the different pieces of the puzzle. One standalone thing is not going to tell you, oh, this is a great trade or this is, you kind of want to, you're going to have a strategy too. I think is going to be the next important part too, because like I said, my comfort zone is a 15 minute. Um, but some people alternate between looking at what's going on between the day, the 1 hour, and the 2 minute. Okay. So let's get out of here and go back to normal world. So I thought that was super cool, right? They have the year forecast, and then if you are kind of again more of a fundamental person, um, and then you're going to be looking at, it gives you the website, and so you can go to Microsoft.com and you can look at their website and get a little bit more of like what's going on behind the scenes, what's going on with Microsoft, so on and so forth. So I find this setup to be so helpful in terms of getting in and out of spaces. Just real quick, so I kind of mentioned you have the time frames up here. Um, on the left hand side, I like to have the Heikinashi candles. And Heikinashi is Japanese for moving averages, so it moves way slower, and it also works if you're looking for flat tops or flat bottoms, and that's going to be important because after your third flat bottom or your second or your third flat top, it's letting you know that it's more than likely trending up, right? So here, for example, you're going to notice that it has the flat bottoms. And like I said, I'm going to come back and do a separate podcast on my indicators because I don't want this to be too terribly long. But I just wanted to kind of show you that on the right hand side, I keep the regular candles. These ones are a little bit more volatile, and that's something that I learned this second go around. And so there's a lot more movement, and it kind of explains with me when my dad and I were trading. Sometimes it would psych you out, and especially if you're in those shorter time frames. The shorter time frames are important for you to go in and execute a trade, but then you want to come back out and kind of just stay in the moment. And let it do its thing, and so not get so psyched out. So, and these are some stuff I'm still kind of working through here. I'll have to go back to my so just click on this and it will take me back to how I had my setup, or at least that's what should happened. Anyways, um this one, indicator templates. Oh yeah, I don't know anything about that. I'm not too familiar with this swinger volume stuff too. You can set alerts, but I'll save that for another podcast. Kind of showed you how to move. You're gonna, when you start putting trend lines and stuff, and you're trying to find yourself moving stuff around. Another good one for you to know too is, for example, when I was down here, let's just say when it was smaller. Remember when I was over here and there was all this stuff going on? Um, I can zoom in and then you know, grab and then move over and stuff like that. So I hope that kind of helped a little bit. Yeah, another favorite here is the stochastic. I tend to keep this open on this pane. So this one has a little bit more noise. It has my moon phases on there, my EMA, the EMA cloud. You're gonna want to come back for this one because I feel like I really like these, my gap stuff, but I keep the gap off of this one. And another important thing too, if you do decide to add gaps to your trading view, it is not going to work with the Heikinashi candles, right? So I basically can just, yeah, you're going to get this little thing at the bottom here saying like your minimal deviation, because remember, Heikinashis are about moving averages. And so if you're having deviations off, then it's going to throw the whole thing off. So I don't really need it here, but I do have my gaps indicator here. Um, yeah, so I felt like if you're trading SPY, you definitely need this set up on your trading view. I kind of low key do like it too. Like I said here, you're gonna notice for the most part my panels are kind of a little bit naked, which some people like to have their stuff on, not so many things on it. This one has a little bit more noise, but it's okay. I just have this side running in the background on the 50-minute time frame, and then this one is where I'll jump in and out of like Apple, QQQ, SPX, and I'll change up the time frames on this one and just get in and out and kind of see what's happening with stuff. So I hope that this has been helpful to you. Um, And you'll definitely want to come back because I will be sharing my indicators and show you what the names of them are and how I use them for my strategy and stuff like that. And you'll definitely want to join me for the journey because, like I said, who knows? I might start trading QQQ and SPX as well. And I'm also going to do some very basic elementary videos showing you how to open and close your options in Robinhood, because I know I had a hell of a time getting in and out of that. Like all the stuff that a newbie needs to know. I will also give shout outs to my favorite traders, and I give you like the strengths of why I think you will benefit from listening to their stuff and so on and so forth. But like I said, it has been my pleasure. I hope that this was helpful. Go ahead and put in the comments if you thought it was helpful, or if you'd like to see me cover something sooner than later. I have more than enough things that I need to start uploading and addressing. Like I said, the indicators, showing you how I use the options chain um, part of things, and then um, I'll kind of show you my strategy. Like I said, people that I follow. I'll share how my trades went throughout the days and the lessons that I learned, because I find that a lot of it too is mental. One of the ones I look forward to uploading is talking about how, especially if you are coming into trading and you are used to that 9 to 5, you might get burnt because you're sitting in front of the computer after you've made profit and you feel you have to sit there for the full 8 hours that the market is open, when in reality, you have to train yourself that we are no longer exchanging time for money. Once you hit your profit, close that computer down, go for your walk, get your breakfast, take the dog for a walk, go to the gym, so on and so forth. And we'll be talking about profit taking points and growing, small accounts and stuff like that. So, but anyways, I also am a little bit of a chatty patty, so it just is what it is. I look forward to the day when we'll go live, and I look forward to hearing way more. Like it's more geared towards women, but I've learned so much from the men out here too in the trading world. So but I look forward to more of my ladies becoming traders. And if I can do it, you can do it too. And I look forward to us just getting in the chats and being like, I made money off of SPY. I'm a SPY trader chick too. I made my 20%. I set up my stuff in TradingView. I understand certain things, and just us having more of a sense of community and celebrating our milestones and stuff like that. So again, it's been my pleasure. Until the next one, we're going to stop sharing this. Until the next one, peace.